and welcome to day 10 or 11 of the 80 Days Junk Journal Stuffies Challenge. And today, actually, I did a lace and fabric snippet. I called them my little snippets. I did that for day 10, so this is kind of day it's supposed to be in for day 11. So anyway, I've got the paper snippets and these scrap snippets back the days switched, but that's okay. So this could go for day 11 or day 10, either one you wish. Check out day 10 and day 11 because they kind of go together. So I have some papers, just some scrap papers. I have some junk mail in here. And basically you can, it's just like a regular, like they're doing the snippets. I call these little snippets because you can actually use these for belly bands. You don't really have to use them like a snippet. And the thinking behind the snippet is that you could use them in your, you know, just snip them and use them. But for this purpose, I could use these as a belly band as well, and not necessarily as a little snippet where that you cut and snip off. So I called these, oh gosh, I called these the sniplets so that they could be little booklets or whatever that, you know, you wanted to do. Just something fun. Okay, so I have my base, and then when I work with my base, you can use junk mail, you know, for your bases. Try to use all the junk you can. And usually you can sew these on. It's basically making like a type of collage type thing. And then you can rip it apart. So you can make rolls and rolls of these things. And then whenever you're ready to use them, you just rip what you want to use as an embellishment, as a cluster or something. A layering effect. So I'm just going to start. You don't really have to use a glue gun. I use a glue gun. You can just definitely use glue on my finger. You can use a glue stick if you want to, but since I'm not going to be sewing these, I'm going to use, this is some vintage paper. It's real brittle. I'm going to use my glue gun because I'm not going to be sewing these. And if you want to make them flat and not have any, you know, bumps and creases or whatever, you can use your tacky glue. I'm trying to hold this and do this at the same time. My glue gun wants to mess up today. It doesn't want to work good. Okay. So I'm just putting just collaging actually. And you can put them in different directions that you want. Whatever you want to do. And basically you're just covering up the white. And you can leave some of the white if you want. It's up to you. But basically you're just using up the scraps of all your paper pieces, no matter how small, how long or wide or whatever, you can just trim them down. And this is about layering, basically. You're just collaging, layering different types of papers on top of each other. Think about all those little scrap pieces that you have. You really don't know what to do with them. They're just sticking in a drawer or sticking in a basket like mine are, and you're like, well, what am I getting? They're too small to really, you know, some of them are super small. I have some that, oh, these are pretty. I may leave that on top. You could do a word on top. You could have a focal point like a used stamp. You could even do a collage out of stamps. Let me put something on under that. You can do, my glue gun's leaking here. You can do like postage stamps. You could have a bunch of them and make a sniplet. Well, glue's everywhere today. I'm going to put this like at a focal point type thing. I'm not worried about gluing it all the way down. You know, I'm having ruffles and stuff like that because I'm not worried about it being totally all glued down. Don't have to worry about that. I'm not. If you are, then you can use, you know, whatever glue that you want to. You could even use Mod Podge or whatever, but for this purpose, I'm just going to use my glue gun and just glue a little bit at a time. And I'm trying to see if you have, you know, a focal point, like the words I have here. I'm going to use some dictionary page here with some words just to give it some interest. I don't care if it's upside down. I don't care one way or the other if it's, you know, which direction it's going. You can have fibers mixed in here if you want to. You can distress it as much as you want. I'm going to do a focal point here. I can cut or tear whichever one I want to do. This is from the Vintage Window Grunge. Printable kit. It's got some really cool little pieces like this in it that you can use for, especially for collaging. Just for fun. Just to see. I'll put that up like that. Okay, let's see. And then I kind of want to add one of these typewriter or keyboard type keys. I thought these were interesting and fun. So I created these using several different layers of images and coffee dyed paper in the background. That's actual, I think that's hickory dyed, to be honest. Okay, so let's see, where can I, that's hot. Where can I add this? Let's see. Can I add just a piece? Here. Oh, you can also turn these into long tags if you wanted to. And if you wanted to use them like a regular snippet where you snip everything off and use it in a cluster or something, you can. Let me move my box. That might help. Okay, let me work a little bit here. You know, and if a digital designer has, like, you know, the wordings and, like, I have my little exclusive little thing, you know, you can use those too, especially in mine. You can use those in your artwork. You can cut out the words that I put on there, and I do that sometimes just to name things, or just to, you know, especially for freebies and stuff, it'll have all that information on there. You can use those. Just don't waste those. Use what you can. I encourage everyone to try to use all of the digital kit that you possibly can use. Okay, so I like, it says vintage number ephemera for collage created by, you know, That's Just Penny. So I could do the word vintage in here, cut it out, rip it out, whatever. They are tiny, but that's the fun part, right? Okay, so on this one, I'm not going to risk burning my fingers, so I'm going to use some of this Scotch glue, wrinkle-free glue. I'm going to use some of that. Okay, and let's see, where should I put the word vintage? Let me go right there. Okay, so there's the word vintage. And I think I'm needing a word right here on this one. So let's do vintage number. That will work. Vintage number. And no, I don't save every tiny little piece, but I do save if it's special papers. If it's just white paper, I usually just throw those away, because it's just a tiny little piece. But if it's decorative paper, something that I can actually glue and sew down, I will try to keep it the best I can, for as long as I can. And it winds up in projects like this. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this project. Now, you know the back is going to be, you know, like this. So if I'm going to use this as a snippet, then I can leave it. But if I use it as a sniplet, meaning like a belly band, or, you know, I could put some lined paper on the back. I could distress it. And let me get my distressing tool here. I can distress if I want to. Especially if someone's going to see the edges or the back or whatever. But you don't have to. Make sure there's no other color on my brush, and there is, so I need to clean my brush. These are makeup brushes, and running them under the water to clean them is perfect, because you can not have to worry about changing pads or anything like that. So this one needs to be cleaned because it did have some of that left over from a previous project, which that's okay. I'm not worried about it, but I don't want to mix my ink pads up. So I got the majority of it off, so I'm good. So I'm just going to distress the edges here. I may have enough of that other color on there to distress it. Why not, right? Kind of gives it a grungy color, a grungy blue, sort of like a rust. That's pretty. I never thought about doing that. A rust type. It's not rust. What's it called? With a little bit green when it rusts. I can't remember the name for that. But there we go. That looks pretty neat though. Patina. I'm sorry. That's the word I was looking for. Patina. Gives it a little iron look, you know, colors. Now, obviously, you could distress every little piece of scrap, but I would not have time for that. I just want to use up my scraps, and I want to use these as the snippets, or the stuffies, to stuff in my journals. So, yeah, I'm just going over this, trying to use up the ink that's on my little brush. And once I get it all off, oh, there's some more left. Okay. Voila. So since I don't want to mix, I can also use, this is cocoa. I don't want to mix the brush into anything other ink pad. I can go around the edges with just the pad itself. Kind of give it a darker edge. Especially if you're going to use these in, you know, as is, if you're going to just stick it down like this, then I would distress the whole thing. If I was going to use it as a snippet, where you cut and use, then I would not distress it until I actually put it down and used it. Because then you'd have to distress the edges all over again. Okay, so this was the fabric one and lace that we did, ribbon. And this is our paper one. And I can, you know, use this, like I said, in a belly band. You can put buttons here if you want to do buttons. Of course, I made this extremely long that you could use it. You could fold it in half, use it as a tag. You could do that. So there's many different ways that you can use these. And of course, you can rip it here and use this piece as a snippet. Look at that. You could use that piece right there. But again, like I said, you would have to distress it again. Okay, guys, so I hope you enjoyed this video. This is for day 11, day 10, day 11, that type of thing. So stay tuned. Check us out. We're going to be doing 80 plus days of all these wonderful stuffies for your junk journals and things. All right, I'll see you on Monday with the next number. What number are we? 12. We'll be doing number 12 on Monday. And let's see, what is for Monday? Lace wrapped notelets. So lace wrap. So get you some lace. You're not going to need a whole lot. You're going to supply scrappy paper, digital papers, junk mail, lace trim for wrapping, notebook papers, ledger papers, line papers, time cards, stapler, or sewing machine if you want to sew it together or staple it. A button maybe a bow for the closure, and I'll show you about that for day 12 of the 80 days junk journal stuffies challenge. Have a wonderful day. Bye, y'all.